Hello, it's Beverly with the Intuitive Interior, and it's time for the May 2024 I Ching reading. This is a Yin Earth Snake month, and it goes from May 5th through June 4th. Again, doesn't always align exactly with the calendar. However, the impacts of this are already starting to filter in. The month energy overall is this number 34, great power. Love that. Especially after last month, we had number 10, treading. And, that was all about, walking the tightrope, making sure that everything stayed on even keel. And it didn't always work out that way. I have spoken to many people, and on my, in my own family, we've had a lot of situations. Let's just put it that way. A lot of situations to deal with. So the fact that we've got this card that feels a lot more action oriented, a lot more hopeful, is encouraging to me. Again, April was what we called that doubles month, where we had double dragon. It was a dragon month and a dragon year, and a lot of that yang energy with the yang wood energy and then the yang earth energy of the month. It just was intense. Not everybody had a bad month or even a good month. It was simply intense. That intensity is coming down a little bit. So this card, the trigram, or the trigram on the bottom is Chan, which is yang metal, and then the trigram on the top is Zhen, which is yang wood. So this is still a very yang, outward moving, action oriented card. But here are the words that are associated with it: strength of character, authority, dignity, influence, self confidence, leadership, peak condition, and potency. Now, if you look here, you still have this dragon here on the top of this card, but the dragon is being there to influence the wisdom. It's bringing that energy in to influence, to use that power to help the person, yeah, guide the person to move forward. But then if you look here at how it kind of swirls around and comes to that center point, in many cultures, that spot right around the belly button is that power point, the dantian, the um what's it also called, the hara. um Many of the, so it's also kind, it's kind of like right there in between the second and third chakras. It really is that, okay, I am connecting now to heaven and earth, and I am able to use this great power to move forward. With my little extra guidebook here, though, it does talk about, um, it really is the strength of character of the leaders. And this has come up before, in just this spring, talking about how somebody may be in leadership, they may be a political leader, and they don't always, just because they're powerful, or just because they are in a powerful position, does not mean that they or are great. So it's, again, may find that more of the we may find places where self-respect and dignity and character are being called into question, and where we are to take notice of where some folks are falling a little short, and then deciding, is that really where we want to put our allegiance? Um, let's see. The higher your profile, the more likely you are to become the focus of other people's envy and discontent. A sense of decorum and self-restraint are essential. It is wise to avoid extremes of any kind, particularly if you're in a powerful position. It's, again, great power comes uh the great opportunity to misuse that power. So try not to be the person who is misusing that power. All right, the next card, though, you may not remember, but last month we had the pure yang card. That pure yang card is the creative. This pure yin card came up this time around. I can't. I mean, there's 64 cards in this deck. I shuffle it a lot. And for this one to come up next, I find just it just tickles me. So again, this is the pure yin card. It is yin earth over yin earth. This is kun over kun. Um, one of the downsides about this energy is notice in this hexagram, there's that center line where there's nothing that prevents energy from just zip, sliding on through. What happens with this though is because it is the image of the purest of the feminine form. It's the um, well, it's kind of the representative of the energy called Mother Earth, the Divine Mother. Uh, that is, as it put it in here, it says, "In her absolute emptiness is eternally birthing all things and the cosmos itself." Um, that the essence of emptiness is present within each of us, and like a blank slate, receives whatever we write upon it. We have the card for the Earth Mother, for the goddess imagery in the month where, at least here in the US, we celebrate Mother's Day. So, this is an opportunity for all of us to take a look at how are we showing up to nurture? How are we showing up to mother? What are we birthing? Um, so the wording on this is the yielding yin principle: devoted, patient, supportive, obedient, responsive, intuitive, earthy, and mother. And you'll notice if you're watching this on video, I made a little bit of a face on the whole obedient thing, because that was actually something I struck out of my wedding vows, because obedience means that I would as you know, that obedience piece is just the antithesis of partnership. That is putting one above the other, in my interpretation. However, this Tao Oracle book has a slightly different take on it. Um, the symbols here are the earth and the cow, which are absolutely in contrast to the dragon and the heaven energy. But together, that completes that cosmology. It's the let's see. There was this receptivity is dependent on the dynamic spark of creative inspiration to be activated into productivity, just as creativity is dependent on and nourished by the fertile ground of emptiness. When the receptive complements the creative, it functions as a womb, an empty canvas on which an infinite variety of creations can be made manifest. Receptivity is a fine balance. It is docile, open, and nurturing, while being intensely devoted and strong enough to persevere through even the most difficult of times. But when it's in a negative manifestation, it envies, complains, and competes for authority, generating chaos and dissolution. Or else, like a couch potato, does nothing but wallow in passivity and indolence, expecting every whim to be catered to. This actually is, I think, a fascinating thought piece to look into, because this passive nature, this feels like the passive. There's nothing passive about creation. There's absolutely nothing passive about a woman growing a child inside of her body. Um, it is dark, though. It is something that we don't get to see. We can't really. I mean, sure, we've got techniques but we don't actually get to see the whole thing. Um, Waiting, it doesn't it's about waiting for the right time. When you have this kind of card, sometimes it's the hardest, the waiting is the hardest part. I think Tom Petty said it best. The focus line for this is number 1, Again, one, two, and three, when the focus lines show up, there's six. Those are about going inside, looking internally at what your processes are. So this says you have noticed a slowing down, but beware of lethargy, bringing things to a complete standstill. Alertness will help you spot the first signs of dissolution, enabling you to take precautionary measures, reversing the negative trend in time. I really feel like then you'll see, here in a moment what I'm talking about too. I think you're going to really see that because last month was so much, it was so intense for so many people and really painful for a lot of people that yeah, the tendency is like I just want to wallow. I just want to go and curl up in a blanket and not do anything. And that's fine for a little bit. But life, like it or not, goes on. And even if something really uncomfortable has happened, as much as you're irritated about everybody else, their lives are still going on. You have to keep moving forward. Um, so that's, I think, the message for the receptive, the reason why that card decided to show up. The next one is fun because we haven't had this one. I don't know if we've ever had this one, but it's called Holding Together. You got this beautiful school of fish, colorful fish. And then the bottom trigram here is Kun, Yin Earth. Again, we just had the double Yin Earth on the other. So there's a theme. Then there's Kan, which is the water element. And when you think about earth and water, so the coming together, it mixes up mud. It can mix up clay. It can be the combining of forces and then creating something new. If you look at any pottery, you'll know how that works. You just keep adding more water until you get it into the consistency where you can form it or where you can create something new. And of course, then you add the fire, which then makes it stick for good. So anyway, but the card on this says union, cooperation, solidarity, membership, teamwork, participation, and making a choice. The focus line on this one is number 5. So this is, again, is about society as a whole. It says there's a subtle and deep nourishment that is made possible only through the challenge of a union. Keep an open mind and be alert, because now's the time that you may stumble across your tribe, or they may find you. And what a joy it is to connect with your people. If anyone has had the experience of moving someplace new, you know that lonely, isolating feeling before you have actually truly met anyone. Um, it's different when you're traveling because you expect to largely be alone, especially if you're in a foreign country where you don't speak the language. But when you've moved to a new town and you're looking for friends, until you find a foothold, it can feel so isolating. As a community, I think the loneliness, of course, there's a huge loneliness epidemic. Um, it is one of the challenges of our society. I mean, we think we're all so connected because we've got all these devices and we're, texting back and forth and commenting and on social media, but are we actually calling somebody up and saying, "Hey, let's go do something. Like, let's actually meet in person." We have that luxury now. After the pandemic, we all now know that was such an isolating time. And we're over that. Yes, we still have to be careful, but we can gather again. And so going for a walk with a friend, running errands with a friend, that is like the best thing because then you get to actually get a little bit better of a glimpse into their life. So I'm going to encourage you this month to find somebody to go on an errand date with. If you do that, write a comment in my comment section, and I'll do a drawing See if I'll and I'm gonna go ahead and give away a session. You can pick whether you want me to do a home office feng shui, or if we want to do a quick 30-minute energy work session. So that is your assignment. So again, because this is about society as a whole, it is worth looking at where you are. What kind of groups are you involved in? It talks about that intangible energy that attracts and bonds otherwise separate people into, the singular functioning, the glue. You know, are you the glue? Are you the one who that people kind of flock around? Um, when I moved, I when I left the Dallas area to move to the Austin area, I found that I had been able to connect many, many different kinds of people. And often, in almost every personality survey that I come across and I take, I am that kind of middle of the road relating to so many different kinds of people that I've been described as the glue that holds people together. I didn't realize that I was supposed to be named Elmer, but apparently. um, But that's part of, I think, the natural leadership quality that many people have. The leadership thing, sometimes people talk about, oh, well, you've got leadership potential. And, okay, no, whatever. We're all leaders. It's just that you have to decide is where I'm leading people to, where others want to go, and how do I invite them to at least consider coming along with me. Every time I do one of these forecasts or a podcast, I'm inviting people to listen and to see if they get any kind of value out of it. So, but it does require trying to see what is it that people need? How can I assist with that? And that's really what holding together is. It's really about seeing what is it that perhaps is there something inside of the current group that I'm with? Are they actually worthy of my time and talent and treasure? Do they deserve this one little slice of this one precious life that we have? If you find yourself in a group that all they're doing is taking and you're not really receiving even not talking about business or anything like that, but if you're not even receiving like the heartfelt feel good piece, then it may be time to say that is a group that I can unstick myself from to free up space for the next opportunity, for the next group of people to come. Now, the last card that I drew today is standstill. This came up so much in the fall to the point where I was starting to question if there were multiple of these cards in the deck. It is a picture of what looks like two frozen people standing kind of back to back. The bottom line again is that Kun, Yin Earth. The top one is Yang Metal, Qian. So we've got this very yin and this very yang element here. The words on this are alienation, a stalemate, stagnation, withholding, grinding to a halt, insensitivity, and mistrust. Now, when you have this coupled with the very first card that I talked about, you've got this image of a woman, a woman who is pregnant, and another image of these two people who are not connected, both of whom are talking about the pause, talking about waiting, holding tight. This focus line is number three again. Excuse me, number three, not number one. I think I said number three before, but it was actually number one. Um, it says, before getting into finger pointing, look to yourself first. Try to understand where the creative principle may have been frozen have become frozen in your own being. Be cool and detached when you look within to discern where you may be unconsciously responsible for the stagnation that okay, let me read that again. Be cool and detached when you look within to discern where you may be unconsciously responsible for the stagnation in order to avoid having to cope with change. Because this is the reason why the standstill is here. This is that receptivity. This is the looking at um, maybe there's a lot of craziness going on outside of you. Uh, this is saying that creativity can still happen, except the image that they use is it happens in an atmosphere of a peaceful and cozy retreat. It's an ideal time to take a break, turn your focus inward, and become attentive to all those little intimate things that contribute to your inner strength and nourish any sense of well-being. It says if you've been hoping for some miracle or a miracle worker to come along and change things, recognize that this hope is just another way of being stuck. And because this is the focus line 3, it is in your power. So if you are feeling frozen or if you're feeling stuck, this is your clarion call to go within, to do some meditation, maybe book a session. I have openings in my calendar to do help you with some energy work. It is and it is going to be a dynamic month. Now, for some of those dates, the because so in the snake is the energy of the month. um, that means that those who have rooster, ox, and monkey will find more support to get things moving forward. For those who have pig in their astrology chart, their Chinese astrology charts, that simply means that there's going to be a clash. Clashes, again, are not negative, or they can be, but it's like friction. It's a refining process. So it simply may be that this month, for those who have the pig in their chart, that it could be the month for up leveling at work. It could be too that maybe you're going to find some groups that you're not jiving with, and that's okay. For those who have snake in their chart, there's 3 days to really look out for. It could be positive, it could be negative, it could be, but it's a spotlight day. So if you're needing a little extra oomph for um, getting extra attention, May 5th, 17th, and 29th are those dates. I'll put the other dates in the show notes. So I hope this helps. Enjoy your May and enjoy those May flowers. Have a great, great day.